You're listening to Draven's Den Radio. This is Open Line, and I'm Draven. You know, there's been a lot of things running through my mind. I've been trying to record this episode for the last 4 hours, picking music and trying to figure out the right thing to say and how to say it and what tone to say it in. And man, I'll tell you what, everybody thinks they can do a podcast, but when it comes down to it, there's a lot of work involved. But, man, there's so many things running through my head tonight. And I kind of had to pick one, and that's not always easy for someone who thinks a lot of, they spend a lot of time alone, and there's so many things running through your head. And I know you guys know what I'm talking about. But, you know what's strange? How people can completely disappear from your life. And I have noticed that I'm 51 years old. And I've had people come into my life for a minute, for an hour, for a month, for years, for decades. And, sadly some pass away and some just step in for a moment. Like, okay, here's an example. I was about 17 years old, and I was walking down this pretty busy highway, and I always had this thing about me where I would always watch the ground right in front of my feet. So my head was always down, and I guess, when you're walking down a major roadway, you kind of want to put your head down because hell, you never know what's going to come at you. But no, I think I did it for other reasons. I don't know, man. I couldn't pick my head up. I just couldn't face the world at that time. And, I got a backstory and everything that probably explains that. But I remember one day I'm walking down Route 17 in Stafford County, Virginia, by the way. And this I don't know, there's a lot of cars passing me and everything, and I didn't have my thumb out and all that, but this one car stops, and he waves me over to him. He was coming like towards me because I walked on the other side, like towards traffic, right? And he pulled over, and I walked over to the driver's side, and right as I walked over to him, this 18-wheeler went past me and barely missed me by like 3 inches, right? And I remember he said, "Dude, you didn't have to do that." But I was completely oblivious to it. I was oblivious to it because the fact that someone pulled over when I wasn't even trying was just, I don't know. It was kind of monumental. It really. But, anyways, so he said, "So I've been up and down 17 twice, and I've seen you walking. And I don't know, dude, you need to ride." Well, nowadays you're super hyper aware of all the freaks and crazy people out there. I mean, especially, God knows, man, over the last 10, 15, 20 years. But, it just, I don't know, it was a monumental moment. I don't know this guy. I couldn't pick him out of a lineup. I'll never see him again. I have no idea who he was. I don't even know if he remembers who I was. But he said, "Dude, get on the other side of the car." So I got on the other side of the car, and I got in. He's like, "Where are you going?" And, well, at this point, like 30 to 25, I don't know, 25, 30 years later, I don't know where I was going. But anyway, he said, "Why do you always walk with your head down?" And And I gotta be honest with you, that's not the first time. I mean, back then, 17, that wasn't the first time I heard that. And it was a damn good question. Why did I always walk with my head down? Was it because I was ashamed of myself? Was it because I didn't want to look at the world ahead of me? I guess the point of the story is, why are we so afraid of what's coming at us? And, now that I'm 51 years old, I'm sitting here looking at life saying, I've got the scars, I've got the punches, I've got the injuries to prove that I have taken life head on. And, after that day, I never walked with my head down again. Because someone took the time to notice. And he was only, he took me somewhere in Fredericksburg, which was only like a few minutes away. But he was only in my life for like a minute. But that 1 minute, that one moment of noticing changed the rest of my life. And something else, I was talking to a person the other day, and I was telling them about patterns, about how when you're going through life will tell you what direction to go, whether it's a gut feeling or little symbols along the way, which way, should you take a left or a right, you will have all the signs you need to go in the right direction. You really will if you open your eyes and your gut feeling and follow it. And it took a long time to realize that gut feeling wasn't, like a bad taco or something. But I'm telling you, those little moments in life, those 1, 2, 5-minute interactions with people, if you pay attention, they will really guide you in the direction that you really may need to pay attention to. But tonight, I'm going to talk about how it's funny, how, people can completely disappear from your life and still somehow show up in your head at 1:30 in the morning, hello. Well, yeah, because it's like 1:30 right now. And it's like they just stepped out to get coffee or something. I mean, I'm not thinking about this in a sad way. I'm thinking about it in just, a life-reflecting human way. Because when you get older, you realize life is mostly people coming and going, arriving and leaving. It's like you're a turnstile. I mean, that's really what it is. Some people stay for months, as I said. They stay for minutes and hours and months and years. But a rare few stay forever, if you're lucky. But there are other people, the ones who leave. And somehow, they never truly leave. I think most adults have a list like that. People we pretend we don't miss anymore. old friends, old relationships, family members, even. People we drifted away from so gradually, we barely noticed it happening until one day we realized we hadn't spoken in years. And, maybe that's the strangest kind of loss. I mean, there is no words that can truly comfort a person grieving, of a family member, a son, a daughter, a mother, a father. But this is a different kind of loss because they're alive. And, they were right there. And in today's technology, you could just pick up a phone, and a couple of texts. I mean, as a matter of fact, and I'm not going to lie, I just got my butt reamed for not talking to a person for 3 days. And I'll be honest with you, I got mad. It's like, hey, I'm busy. I was working in the yard. I was helping a friend out. I was doing this, doing that. But then I really got to think about it. And I'm like, why didn't I take that 3 seconds over 3 days and say, hey, what's up? What's up? Why didn't I do that? And I could sit there and make excuse after excuse and just say, oh, I was busy, I was doing this, I was doing that. But in today's world, there literally is no, no, there is an excuse. There is a reason. Excuse and reason has a very fine line. I was so caught up in my own head in every 30 seconds I have to know what I'm doing to move my life forward. And I did not stop long enough to think I should text this person or that person. There's a friend of mine that I've had for 30 years. She has been that person sitting on the sideline. She'll send me cookies at Christmas. She'll send me a Christmas card, when I was 18 years old, she bought me a Grimlock, a Transformer. Took me to Chuck E. Cheese when I was 18 years old, because that's what I wanted to do. I had never been to Chuck E. Cheese before. But I've been really, really thinking that, sometimes we get our own heads shoved up our own butts for so long. And we get these blinders on that we're completely forgetting that there are people outside those blinders that care about us for whatever reason. I mean, I got issues, dude. But I'm, even at 51 years old, I'm still trying to learn that there are people outside my blinders that actually care about me for whatever reason. I can't wrap my head around it. But they do. And my advice, take it for what it's worth, is sometimes you got to take those blinders off, But, people will leave with no dramatic endings and no screaming and no betrayal and no cinematic goodbye in the rain. Just subtle distance, And I think nighttime makes people honest about distance. Hey, I just dumped on you guys about it. But daytime keeps you distracted, because you got work and schedules, notifications and kids and responsibilities and noise, just straight up noise. But when the sun goes down and the people go to sleep and you got time to think, nighttime has a way of reopening old doors quietly.
Neon hums through the window glass, half-lit rooms in the cars that pass, coffee cold on the fire escape. City moves but it leaves a wake. I can hear my own footsteps then, down a block where the nights don't end. Every face looks like it's on its way. Every light says it's not gonna stay. Right in this slow pulse, in the middle of the noise, trying not to lose myself. Lonely as the street, but I keep moving through with the quiet beat inside me, pulling me to you. Corner store with the flickering sign, strangers talking in a language of time. Sirens fade like a held back note. Somewhere deeper I can feel hope. Not the kind that burns too bright, just enough to make it through the night. I don't need it to be loud or clear, I just need a little warmth right here. Right in this slow pulse, in the middle of the noise, trying not to lose myself. Lonely as the street, but I keep moving through with the quiet beat inside me, pulling me to you. Maybe peace is a borrowed light, maybe healing takes a city night. If I keep my heart in time, I can hear it, I can find something steady under the rain, something small that feels like name. And I'm still here, right in this slow pulse, in the middle of the noise, trying not to lose myself. Lonely as the street, but I keep moving through with the quiet beat inside me, pulling me to you. Slow pulse, city glow. I'm not lost if I don't let go.
You're back with Open Line on Draven's Den Radio. That was Coffee Cold by an AI. Yes, artificial intelligence. Let that sink in for a moment. I typed in a bunch of words and the computer spit out a song that actually grabbed your emotions. I mean, man, that's the first time that I ran across a website like that. Like, I heard about it, but I never actually, did anything like that. But I was trying to find songs to, like copyright free and everything. And we'll get into that, and towards the end of the show. But I was trying to find music, that beat along with the script, and well, what I was trying to say tonight. And yes, okay, I have a script, but I've been so going off script. for most of this. But anyways, and I found this website, and since I'm not getting any money for this, this is all passion project. I mean, it'd be great if you guys wanted to, throw some dineros my way. Well, not dineros, but dollars, but you know what I mean. Throw some bones my way, uh, for me to keep doing all this. But anyways, okay, sorry, I got off track there. But I mean, artificial intelligence actually wrote that song, sang that song in somebody's voice. I don't know who the guy is. And I could download it for free, use it for what I'm doing. Wow. I mean, come on, Gen X, think about it. We're coming from a time where the phone was attached to the wall and you had to drag a freaking 27-foot phone cord through the house just to talk to your girl for 6 hours. Or your guy, or whatever. But, yeah. Freaking weird, right? But yeah, so that was Coffee Cold by an AI that I created. Weird. So weird. I mean, I can sing a little bit. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to sing for you. Not right now. But, anyways. But it nailed it. It totally nailed it. And it got the point. That track feels like walking through a city after midnight when everything finally slows down enough to hear yourself think. I mean, I don't know if you've ever walked down like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning when everything around you is just like totally asleep, and you were just alone. And I mean, the world was a total possibility at that point. Well, only for bad shit, because you could have run over and stole stuff, or wrecked stuff and whatever, but you chose not to. You just walked down the street and you observed the life around you. And you felt the heartbeat of your surroundings was a lot slower. I mean, at least that's what I noticed, when I was young and walking the neighborhood and everything. But you know what really gets me now? Songs. I mean, well, it's not just now. Being Gen X and everything. I mean, songs back in the 80s was like everything. It was like, our sun and moon rise and set on the songs. You got everything, Eddie Money all the way up through Metallica. And sorry, guys, I'm not going to get into the booty bumping music because I was never a booty bumping music kind of guy. But I did like some Run DMC. you know, I did like some Fat Boys. I mean, that was pretty cool back in the day. But nah, I'm a diehard Iron Maiden fan, and Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne, and yeah, that's me really. And which you guys probably won't even realize because the last 2 episodes, well, this episode and the last episode, you're hearing some kind of slower stuff, but that's free music, and I want to take an opportunity to say, if anyone listening to this makes music, not has, but makes music that would vibe along with the late night 80s, 90s late night show talking about deep thoughts, I am more than happy to talk to you. And I can put your music out there. And we can do interviews and we can jive about it and everything else. Not the hard stuff, because this is kind of a laid back kind of show, but I've had some guests in the past over the last, 4 seasons that I've been doing Draven's Den that I think they got some music that they could offer up and put on the show, and I think the listeners would really love it. But anyway, all right, let's get back to the show here because I'm like dragging this thing on for like hours. All right. Anyways, so you hear one old song, and suddenly you remember where you worked. I mean, come on. There's a lot of songs that bring back memories, right? Where your apartment, where your apartment was, what it smelled like, who you were trying to become back then. And for a few minutes, you're there again. Songs do that. There's a song by Don Henley, Boys of Summer. Every time I hear it, it takes me back to like 1980, 84. And me and my best friend, J.R. Ramey, are riding our bikes through Colonial Beach, Virginia. As Tom Wopat said, yahooing off of everything we could. Well, yes, I met Tom Wopat, Luke Duke, and I told him about how me and J.R. Ramey would ride our bikes around. He was always Bo because he had blonde hair, and my hair was darker, so I was always Luke. But I met Tom Wopat, and I remember I met him at Cooters in Luray. And I walked up to the table, and I was going to get a signature, but I stopped and like totally froze. And he looked at me like I was, about to like, I don't know, do something dumb. But I was like, no, 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 dude, really, I was just 10 years old in that moment. And he smiled and he said, I understand. That's awesome. Thank you. I mean, I know he's an actor and he has his own life. I mean, hell, he poops like everybody else. But the thing is that when you're in that moment of nostalgia, wow. You watch them on TV and, I mean, oh my goodness, if I ever was to meet Richard Dean Anderson, RDA, oh my God, that would be amazing. But there is that old cliche, never meet your heroes, because you may be disappointed. And you don't want to be disappointed in your heroes. I mean, a lot of people call me MacGyver. Used to, anyway. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would meet RDA. I might turn around and say, no, I'm just gonna let that memory stick. But I think that has, a lot to do with people. You see them across the room, and whether it's the rich people or just the cool people or just the other people, and do you really want to step in and see anything other than what you imagine? It's just kind of that thing. You got to make a choice, But it's really weird how music will take you back or put you in a moment. You hear one old song and suddenly you remember where you worked. Where you were, what you did. And the strange part is sometimes you don't even miss that person that comes to your mind. You miss the version of yourself that existed when they were around. When that TV show was on and you loved it. Or when that friend was around that's what you really miss. I think memory edits things a little too, it just edits stuff to make us feel a little better. But that's probably how we survive. Because if memory played back life exactly the way it happened, most of us would never emotionally recover from our 20s, to be quite honest. And I think what people really miss is possibility. Because when life still felt unwritten, you still believed anything could happen. But then when you get to the other side of the road, other side of the bridge, other side of the hill, oh, good Lord, it's all downhill from here. It just, you look at the important things. You look at the really big stuff. You don't worry about the gossip. You don't worry about the small stuff. Well, unless you're the president of an HOA or some shit, because, little old lady driving around with a golf cart writing fashion tickets on houses. But, you just, you think about the moments that matter. But I think what people really want is that choice. Because the older you get, you feel like the choice goes away. You have less and less choices. Unless you're filthy, stinking rich, but that's a whole new ball of wax in another episode. But you still believed anything could happen. Love, adventure, reinvention. And then one day you wake up and realize your life didn't become a movie. You never became Arnold Schwarzenegger or Elizabeth Taylor or, come on, there's a list of them. Hell, I never became Harrison Ford. I never became Indiana Jones, unfortunately, because, damn it, I tried. Hey, I found a prehistoric fossil on a beach one day, and I was on top of the world. But it became a collection of responsibilities and lower back pain. That's what we ran into. That's what happened. But somehow, that happens unbelievably fast.
Coffee cold on the fire escape. City moves, but it leaves a wake. I can hear my own footsteps then, down a block where the nights don't end. Every face looks like it's on its way. Every light says it's not gonna stay. And I'm still here, riding this slow pulse in the middle of the noise, trying not to lose myself. Lonely as the street, with a quiet beat inside me, pulling me to you. Corner store with the flickering sign, strangers talking in a language of time. Sirens fade like a held back note. Somewhere deeper I can feel home. Not the kind that burns too bright, just enough to make it through the night. I don't need it to be loud or clear, I just need a little warmth right here. And I'm still here, riding this slow pulse in the middle of the noise, trying not to lose myself. Lonely as the street, but I keep moving through with a quiet beat inside me, pulling me to you. Maybe peace is a borrowed light, maybe healing takes a sitting night. If I keep my heart in time, I can hear it, I can find something steady under the rain, something small that feels like a name. And I'm still here, riding this slow pulse in the middle of the noise, trying not to lose myself. Lonely as the street, but I keep moving through with a quiet beat inside me, pulling me to you. Slow pulse, city glow, I'm not lost if I don't let go.
That was Memory on the Fire Escape. Boy, I wish I could tell you who that voice was, because wow, he hit some range. But you're listening to Draven's Den Radio, and this is Open Line, and I am Draven. But yeah, that was Memory on the Fire Escape. Again, that was another AI song. Wow, being a Gen X guy, listening to, remembering the radio from back in the day, Chris Jagger, I don't know if, cross country people will know who he is, but on B101.5 here in Virginia, yeah, he was a really cool DJ. But getting back to what I was saying, I think men carry people differently, quietly. That's probably the best word for it, quietly. Because most men were never really taught how to talk about emotional loss unless somebody died. But there are so many kinds of loss that happens before death. Friendships fading, divorce, estrangement, people slowing, becoming, strangers. And over my lifetime, I think estrangement has really been a big one that I noticed anyway. I mean, from personal experience and seeing other people and their families. But I came to a conclusion And I don't know if I came to it just to make myself feel better or just to try to rationalize it because the one thing the human mind will try to do is rationalize everything just to make it make sense. Whether it's family situations or paranormal or whatever. We will try to make it make sense just so we can be okay somehow, some way. But people slowly becoming strangers. And I think a lot of people just carry that silently for decades. You ever notice when old friends reconnect after years apart? Nobody says, I missed you, man. They just immediately start making fun of each other like no time had passed. That's basically emotional Morse code. But underneath that humor, there's usually love there. And man, yeah, this part really kind of made me think because I had a buddy of mine that I had known since, like ninth, 10th grade. And you know, we'd go years without talking and then pop back up and, years without talking and pop back up. But I remember it was like 40 something birthday and he was treating me like I was still that kid in high school. The constant put downs and da 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 da. And I gotta admit, man, it crawled my skin. And it really, really got under it. And unfortunately today we're pretty much strangers. But, I do regret that in a way. Because he was a good dude. He does have a good heart. Now I'm sure he's got his own things in life and the reasons he did what he did and I just got really damn tired of being picked on. You know? And the day that you can stand up and say, this is my boundary, this is my line, I'm done. But I think what I didn't say was, what I hold you so close that your words actually affect me. They actually bother me. And the fact that they bothered me, that meant something. That meant that I really liked, that I loved the dude like a brother. But I drew the line. And I think about it a lot because he crossed the line and I had to make a stand and his and my friendship will never, isn't the same. I won't say will never be the same. But I guess what I'm trying to say is in life, you've got to draw a line between your past, your present, because it's your present that's going to make the future. So I miss the guy, I really do, man. He's funny and he's smart and everything else, but he does have a big heart, but it was that one thing, that just really I guess after so many years, I needed a little more respect. And it just wasn't there. So always respect yourself and the people around you. Make sure they respect you too. Because that's important. Especially as time moves on and you get older. If people don't respect you, they might be mad at you. But even if people don't, if they got a problem with you and they don't try to resolve it, they don't even ask you about it. They just ignore you. They ignore the fact you even exist. That means there's zero respect. None. You don't even exist. And once you realize that, it's time to let it go. But underneath that humor, there is usually love there, Like I said, you can love a person to death. But if they're not treating you with any kind of respect whatsoever, even just as a human being, just because of history, recognition, even if they just knew an early version of you, if they're not respecting that at all, well, I think it's okay to let them go. That's my opinion. But there's something powerful about being remembered by somebody who knew you before life hardened you a little. And I don't think you should ever let those memories go.
Neon hums through the window glass, half-lit rooms in the cars that pass. Coffee cold on the fire escape. City moves but it leaves a wake. I can hear my own footsteps then, down a block where the nights don't end. Every face looks like it's on its way. Every light says it's not gonna stay. And I'm still here, riding this slow pulse in the middle of the noise, trying not to lose myself. Lonely as the street, but I keep moving through with a quiet beat inside me, pulling me to you. Corner store with the flickering sign, strangers talking in a language of time. Sirens fade like a held-back note. Somewhere deeper I can feel home. Not the kind that burns too bright, just enough to make it through the night.
Something I've realized getting older, closure is mostly functional. Life doesn't wrap itself up neatly very often. Most relationships end in unfinished sentences, unfinished times. I mean, think about how many times you got into an argument and you were just so mad, so frustrated, and you stormed out the door and then thought about the last 50 things you should have said, could have said. That's why I have a rule: I don't argue. The last person I truly argued with cost me my world, because I've replayed that argument in my head over and over again, and I could have handled it so differently. But I was scared. I was terrified. Because it was the first time I had ever had an argument with someone that I truly loved. Outside of, you know, family, blood. Well, not family, but blood. So I made a promise to myself. I would never, ever raise my voice in anger ever again. And I don't even think I did at that moment, to be honest with you. I just wanted to exit stage left. I know I didn't raise a hand. I don't even think I yelled. I think I just went dead inside. But I'm pretty sure I could have fixed that situation if I had the right words. And in life, that is sometimes the hardest damn thing to have, is the right words. But ever since that moment in my 20s, I have never lost my temper. Well, I didn't lose it then either. I think the last time I actually lost my temper, I was in my teens. Because I realized there was no sense in it. The angrier you get, the less you think. And then you end up making mistakes that you can't take back. You say words you can't take back. And I know I've gone completely off base here tonight, and I was trying to keep it, short and simple for like a half hour, but here we are at an hour or so. But man, there's so much anger going on in the world today, and I got 50 years to look back on. And I know people are different now, and kids are different. They don't even talk the same. I mean, I stay pretty isolated myself, just because I don't know how to communicate with people today, And they talk a different language. They have different words for things that meant something different when I was growing up and being in, 20s, 30s, 40s. Hell, I don't even know how to talk to them. But, something I realize as I'm getting older is that closure is mostly fictional. Life doesn't wrap itself up neatly very often. Most relationships end in unfinished sentences. They do. Most friendships fade gradually. Most people never get the movie version where everybody explains themselves perfectly and grows emotionally in under 2 hours. It doesn't happen. And honestly, maybe that's okay. Maybe maturity is learning how to appreciate what something was without demanding it to still exist now. That's difficult, though, especially late at night. Because nighttime turns memory louder somehow. You ever randomly remember somebody you haven't thought about in years? Have you ever done that? I mean, hell, I know I have. I do it all the time. One person specifically. But not even somebody dramatic. Just somebody. An old coworker, a neighbor. Somebody you used to see every single day without realizing one day you'll never see them again. That thought always gets me. It does. I think about a neighbor I used to have across the street. Really great guy. We chit-chatted and so forth, but one day that we just didn't have anything to say to each other anymore. How many moments feel ordinary while they're happening and only later become important? Think about that.
Been too afraid to share my fears with you. Although I know there ain't no safer place than here with you, my love. I've kept them locked up and stored away.
Music licensing reimagined.
Try this another day. Honey, I'm just so afraid. So break the lock on the door if I won't let you in. Shatter your glass on the floor just to show me you ain't playing around.
Artlist.io.
Let me stay in my
Music licensing reimagined.
'Cause I've been hidden away, unwilling and unknown for so long now. Promise me you won't turn away. Don't put it off for another day. Honey, don't let me stay in my head alone.
Artlist.io.
Break the lock on the door if I won't let you in. Shatter your glass on the floor just to show me you ain't playing around anymore.
Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io.
Break the lock on the door if I won't let
Licensing Reimagined.
Too afraid to share my fears with you. Although I know
Artlist.io.
there ain't no safer place than here with you, my love.
You're back with Open Line, and I'm Draven. That was Break the Lock by Jack Schlegel. Schlegel. Yeah, sorry. Hard name to pronounce. But hey, you notice the little watermarks in the music. Holy cow. Did you ever think that would happen? Watermarks in music. Yeah, well, I mean, I get it. Because the musicians need to get paid. And they put it on the free sites, copyright free, but they gotta, make you go look for the real stuff. And I understand it. But hey, this brings me to a good point. If there is anyone listening that hung out this long, that has some music that they own, they wrote, they produced, and they would like it to be part of the show, I would be more than happy to spread your talent to anyone and everyone who listens. I've had a couple of pretty famous musicians on my show in the years past, authors and actors and things like that. So don't think it will go unnoticed, because it will definitely be noticed. But anyhow, you're back with Open Line, and I am Draven. That was, like I said, Break the Lock by Jake Schlegel. But perfect name for adulthood, honestly, because we're all trying to break locks. Because I think most people expected life to feel bigger than this somehow. As you get older and the clock starts seeming more of a nemesis. But we thought we were going to break the lock on what always held us back. We pictured a more dramatic, more certain life. But real life mostly happens quietly. It happens in kitchens, in parked cars, in late night conversations, in moments nobody else sees. And maybe that's why people still need voices in the dark. Not experts, not influencers, not people pretending they've mastered life. Just human voices that aren't afraid to say, once upon a time I effed up. And I'm doing the best I can to be better. People trying to understand things honestly while they're still living through them, Because life don't stop. It just keeps going. The bad things don't stop coming in. The bills don't stop coming. The Karen down the street don't stop picking on you because of the color of your shutters and yada, yada, yada. But it doesn't stop, but it doesn't mean you have to give up. And maybe that's all this really is. A place to sit with life for a while. That's why I welcome you into the den, so you can sit for a while. I'm not going to play the last song because honestly it was just another AI thing, and I'm just going to roll this out. You are listening to Draven's Den Radio. This is Open Line. I am Draven. I've always been Draven. And yes, I named my husky Draven, and he gave me a lot of inspiration to start Draven's Den, 4 years ago. Because he was a survivor like me. He came from Puerto Rico. And in Puerto Rico, he lost one of his eyes. And a friend of mine adopted him for me, actually. I was at work. And I got a text with a picture of him as a small pup. And she said, "Yep, he's yours." Yeah, boy, he was awesome. I love that dog so much. Definitely my best friend. I miss him every day. But I appreciate you guys hanging out tonight. And I hope you come back, and next week I'll do it again. But reach out, talk to me, tell me what you think about the show, tell me about, things that you would like me to talk about. I got the history show, Draven's Den Podcast. We do history every week, or try to every week. We recap. I don't know why I keep saying we. It's like me and my 3 different personalities. No, it's all me. It's all me. But yeah, I do history every week. And or try to. Like I said, try to every week. And tell you what happened in the past, so hopefully you learn from it. And hopefully we don't repeat it. Some things you can repeat. Like the never giving up, never surrendering. But, history is written by the victors. Remember that. Because that's a true statement. But tonight, I've just been thinking about the people we pretend we don't miss. And the truth is, we do. We miss them a lot. Maybe pretending is unnecessary. Because those people made a difference. They really did. So we shouldn't pretend they don't exist. Accept the good. Let go of the bad. Maybe it's okay that certain people mattered. Even if they're gone now. Even if life moved on. Even if the story ended years ago. Because people leave fingerprints on each other emotionally. Nobody gets through life untouched. And if somebody crossed your mind tonight, maybe don't fight that so hard. Maybe just let the memory sit beside you for a minute. Not because everything that hurts is trying to destroy you. Some things are just reminders that you lived. You've been listening to Draven's Den Radio. This is Open Line. I'm Draven. Thanks for spending the last hour or so with me. Take care of yourself. And I'll talk to you again soon.